Are you making more money than you ever have before? Maybe you're making close to 100,000 or even over $100,000 per year, but you still feel behind. Just know you're not alone and there is hope. In this video, we're going to be going over how the system has changed, some of the main financial pitfalls that people fall into, and how to strategically position yourself to ensure that you're guaranteed to succeed in 2026 and moving forward. You followed the advice that was given to you and you made the right decisions. However, the system has changed and the advice that was given to you was probably outdated advice. Fortunately, it's this realization that's going to set you apart from your peers and help you break free from this stage of your life. Once you're able to recognize that the system you're following is outdated, the quicker you're able to pivot and strategically change your system so you can start contributing towards meaningful progress that you can be proud of. The first thing that I would like to note is that feeling behind doesn't mean that you're broke, and it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Success is a very broad spectrum, and there are going to be people behind you, and there are going to be people in front of you. But the important part is to focus on your personal progression, focusing on where you are and trying to achieve goals that you're setting for yourself rather than comparing yourself to other people. Feeling behind may mean you're not making the income that you thought you'd be making at this point in your life, or maybe you are making the money that you thought you'd be making, but that doesn't buy you the lifestyle that you thought it would. You're living tighter than you thought you would based off of your solid income. This is what I call doing fine on paper, but not living the lifestyle that you desire. This is a dangerous stage to be in because you're comfortable enough to not feel uncomfortable, but that uncomfortable feeling is what motivates you to go out and make change. Feeling comfortable doesn't mean that you're reaching your goals. It just means that you're not uncomfortable. And that's why many people get stuck in this stage for decades, and sometimes they never escape this stage. Now, if you clicked on this video, I'm sure you're wondering, why is $100,000 not enough? Well, $100,000 used to buy you some breathing room. It gave you a margin, the margin over living expenses. And that margin over living expenses is the only tool you have at your disposal for creating wealth. That tool is what you can use to save. You can invest in the stock market, in cryptocurrencies, and real estate, and those are assets, and assets appreciate over time. This tool has been taken away from people due to the increased cost of living, housing, groceries, utility bills, car payments, you name it, everything has gotten more expensive. Now, what's absolutely critical if you ever want to make progress and move forward in life is you have to unlock your margin. You have to unlock the income over your living expenses. A high income doesn't automatically equal success anymore. It used to be that that margin that you had was automatically allocated towards investing. People would invest the money that they had because they had extra. Nowadays, people don't have extra money and they start inflating their lifestyles to match their income. And that's due to multiple reasons. We have social media, which makes us compare ourselves to other people. And so we feel like we're behind because we don't have a new car or we don't have a house that's as nice as theirs. And the thing that you need to do is understand you don't know their finances and they may be completely underwater. Everything might be financed. And that's not a situation that you want to be in because you're one step away from losing everything. If this video is resonating with you, please hit that like button. It really helps push the video out and reach other people who are feeling this way. This is why some high earners will make a lot of money over their life, but they'll end up with nothing. It's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you keep and how much money you're able to invest. Just because the bank tells you that you can afford a $40,000 car doesn't mean that you should go out and buy a $40,000 car. If you have a $100,000 income and you're able to invest 25, 35% of your money, you're going to get way farther ahead than the person who's making $200,000 a year and isn't investing anything. In fact, you will infinitely be ahead of that person because if you don't invest money, as soon as you stop working, it stops coming in. It's like playing musical chairs and hoping that a chair is going to show up. You need to make sure that you have a chair available for you for when you stop working. Now I'm going to go over some of the financial traps that kill your margin and take away your only tool that you have for building wealth. Housing is most people's largest expense that they have, and often it's unavoidable. We have to have a place to live, and in this economy, the cost of living is outrageous. However, there are some things that you can do to reduce this cost for yourself. For starters, the interest rates are really high right now, which makes housing unaffordable. And when you go out and buy a home, the bank will tell you you can afford a mortgage up to this amount. that doesn't mean that you need to go out and buy a home that's at the top of your budget. In fact, the bank doesn't care about your margin. It doesn't care about your financial future. What they care about is that you're able to make the payment. And if you're able to make the payment, that's great, but you're never paying yourself. You have to pay yourself first. You have to try increasing that margin so you can take some of that money and store it away in investments. Now, another hack that you can do to try decreasing your cost of living for housing and to try to expand your margin is house hacking. Personally, I use house hacking to offset my cost of living. And if you don't already know what house hacking is when you take different bedrooms in your home and rent them out to other people. Or if you have a guest house on your property or an additional dwelling unit, an ADU, renting that out can give you money every month that will offset your mortgage. Personally, I've done both of these. I've rented bedrooms out in my home, and then when my family grew and now we have a daughter, we stopped renting out bedrooms in our house, and now we rent out our guest house. So we never really see our tenant. They are basically like having another neighbor, except every month they're providing income that directly expands my margin, and I'm able to take that income and invest it directly into stocks, into mutual funds, and into cryptocurrencies, and I'm able to save money so that I can buy more real estate and do the same thing over and over again. And house hacking doesn't need to be something that you do for your entire life. It may be something that you do at a certain stage of your life so that you can create margin, create an investment portfolio, and start watching it grow. Once you expand your income, maybe you can stop doing the house hacking and use your income for that margin. But it is a tool that some people can use where it can change your financial future. The second financial trap that people can fall into is student loans. Now, I'm not claiming that college isn't a good idea. I think education can unlock a higher income, but you should do so responsibly. It's often sold to people as student loans is smart debt. Now, I do believe there is a such thing as smart debt. I don't believe that student loans is one of those things. The reason is because there's so many opportunities to get school at an affordable rate. You can start at a community college and get really affordable tuition. One of those options is starting off at a community college. You could do your first 2 years at a community college at a really affordable and reasonable rate. Then, if your profession that you're going into requires for you to have a bachelor's degree, you can then go transfer to a university. Or if your job doesn't require you to have that, go out in the field and start working. Your employer may pay for you to get your bachelor's degree. They may pay for that through different programs like tuition reimbursement, student loan forgiveness programs, but there are programs out there and things you can take advantage of rather than finding yourself in massive amount of student loans. Sometimes these student loans are crippling and people aren't ever able to escape them. And nowadays, a lot of community colleges are actually offering bachelor's degree. Personally, I was able to get an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree from a community college. My community college had a lot of different programs available too, and I was actually able to receive scholarships from the school, which reduced the tuition even further. And it was already at baseline much more affordable than going to a university. And please do keep in mind, for a lot of careers, you don't need to have a college degree. However, if you're going into something like becoming a teacher, a lawyer, a dentist, a doctor, a physician assistant, a nurse, whatever it might be that requires you to have a degree, go out and get that degree and you'll be glad that you did because it will help you unlock an elevated income and potentially a career that you really enjoy. The point isn't to villainize education and villainize college. The point is to let you know that there are different options, and depending on what profession you want to go in, make the best decision that makes sense for you personally. The third financial pitfall that I see people falling into is buying expensive cars that you just cannot afford. Purchasing a new car is often a status symbol, or it's sold to you as something that you can now afford. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should afford something. Whatever you're buying, you're having an opportunity cost. When you go to the dealership, they'll tell you you can qualify for this amount of a car. In fact, you should probably stay away from dealerships because they're a dangerous place to be financially. Once you get a car payment, for that defined loan period, you are losing that much money in margin that could otherwise be invested into the market. And I'll tell you, once you start investing money in the market and you start getting return on investment, it becomes addictive. And you start trying to do whatever you can do to unlock more and more of your margin so you can see your progress stack. A lot of people, they say, what am I supposed to do for a car? I have to have a car. I have to get to work. And I totally understand that. But you can do so responsibly. I recommend purchasing an older vehicle. These vehicles are often better built than they are now. They're very reliable, they're efficient on gas, and the repairs are ridiculously affordable compared to modern cars. I think sticking to these three main brands will help you. Sticking to Honda, Toyota, and Nissan. Personally, I currently own a 2005 Honda Accord and a 2008 Nissan Altima. My Honda Accord has 70,000 miles on it, and my Nissan has 140,000 miles on it. There are some super important considerations to make when purchasing a used vehicle. You want to try looking for a vehicle that has less than 100,000 miles on it if your budget will allow you to. You want to look for vehicles that have service records, making sure that they've been regularly maintained, receive their oil changes, that sort of thing. If you pay for a Carfax, that can provide some valuable information as well. If you're not mechanically inclined, opt to go and hire a mechanic to do an evaluation, and sometimes this can save you a lot of money in the long run by preventing purchasing a lemon. But once you buy a vehicle that's mechanically sound, it may be an older 2000s model with under 100,000 miles on it. These vehicles are known to go to 200, 300,000 miles when maintained properly. That's going to last you as long as you need it to last you. And trust me, any prestige that you lose from having an older vehicle, you will make up in your portfolio. I want to be really clear about one thing though. The purpose of this video isn't about doom and frustration, rather about awareness. If you've already fallen into one of these financial pitfalls, it's not too late, and you can learn from these decisions so that you don't make them again in the future. On this channel, I plan on talking about increasing your income, investing, personal growth, productivity, and how to control your money so that your money doesn't end up controlling you. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then please consider subscribing. I will be posting videos here every Saturday.